There he is. He's from the Republican Overseas Organization, enjoying all the fun of the fair in happy, snappy Washington. He is, of course, our friend Greg Swenson. Welcome, Greg.
Great to see you, Kevin.
Well, you've been enjoying the events of today. Well, tell us, I mean, the speech I thought was pretty inspirational. Let's just, before we get your thoughts, let's play two of the sections of this speech that I think summed up what it was all about. It basically was an end to Democrat, metropolitan, elite liberalism, an end to wokery, a return to common sense. Here's Donald Trump on the fact that there are not 107 different genders. Take it away, Donald.
I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
You think, well, what, you know, why is that a big deal? There are only two genders, but when a president says there are only two genders, everybody goes, yeah, fantastic. Before we get your thoughts, this is the other bit I loved, Greg. Drill, baby, drill. Take it away, Donald, again.
Today, I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal, and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate industry, and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers.
Well, Greg, I mean, you get the gist. Also, he said he pledged a return to free speech. You can say what you like when he's in power. Common sense, the planting of the American flag on Mars. Other additional plans he has to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, to maybe second the Panama Canal, maybe even take over Greenland. And while he's at it, I think more and more people in Britain say, could you take over Britain as well? I mean, you know, this is a return to normality, isn't it? A return to common sense that Americans have been yearning for under the darkness of Biden and Harris's bizarre, ridiculous wokery.
Yeah, it was very refreshing, I thought. I mean, it was a balance of healthy optimism, which is great to see. And there's so much optimism in Washington right now, Kevin. And then you had the criticisms of Biden and Harris, and that wasn't delicate. You know, he didn't mention them by name, but he didn't have to. And I just caught in the background here at the Milken Institute, I'm across the street from the White House, of Joe Biden's parting words before he got on Air Force One, thank God for the last time.
Is that what he said? I think, yeah, I think that's what we all think. Yeah, we share his emotions there, don't we? Thank God he won't be in charge anymore. Now, Trump's talked about signing 200 executive orders. We're hearing already that troops are massing on the southern border and starting to stop people coming in for the first time in 4 years. So it does seem as if he wants to get going straight away. Are you sensing that we will see immediate action?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're thanks to Biden and Harris, we've become the first Western country that has that sanctions sex trafficking of underage girls across our border. It's absolute insanity. And so you've got a really a humanitarian crisis at the border, Kevin. So that has to be stopped immediately. I'm glad to hear troops are amassing. Greg Abbott, who Trump was very complimentary of, had been using National Guard troops, and other governors like Kristi Noem and Ron DeSantis had sent troops, National Guard troops, to aid on the border with Greg Abbott's National Guard's troops. I mean, it's so sad that we have to even be having this conversation, and I think it's just an abrupt end to it. Again, with a bunch of optimism too. Drill, baby, drill. The clips you just played. absolutely fantastic for the American people, great for the economy and lower energy prices, and great for the UK, great for the West, because we're going to lower energy prices for everyone. The UK, this is so sad, Kevin, thanks to the idiocy of both the Tories and now Labour, energy costs are 5 times as high in the UK for businesses as they are in the US. They're even 50% higher than Germany. So not only is this going to be good for the UK by being able to deliver liquid natural gas, which Biden stopped, so we can deliver cheaper energy to our friends in Great Britain, but also, you know, the country, the UK should take a page out of the Trump playbook, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's what we're all very jealous of. America has got the deliverance that we wish we could get. I mean, all he's talking about is, you know, we sit around here, Greg, you know, you have to suffer this as well as a resident of London, of Britain. You know, we go, oh, net zero is so important, and therefore your energy bills will be soaring and rocketing for years and years to come because we've got to pay for the windmills, we've got to pay for the solar panels. And we're all thinking, but if we didn't, our energy bills would be a lot cheaper. If we started fracking, our energy bills will be astronomically cheaper, and yet we can't do that because apparently that's going to cause earthquakes in Blackpool, which it won't. So all of this nonsense, this imposition of left-wing politicians' virtue signalling, of their halo polishing on the rest of us, Trump is getting rid of that at a stroke. We're still stuck with it, but he's just getting rid of it. And that is a sight to see. It's a glorious sight to see, isn't it?
Yeah, let the private sector operate. Let the job creators and the people that produce things, let them go about their business. It's better for wage growth. I mean, wages are 4% lower now than when Biden took office. That is atrocious. That's just absolutely insane. And now in the UK, you have the energy minister is called the Minister of Energy Security and Net Zero. Talk about the mother of all oxymorons. So it's just lunacy, Kevin. So I hope that the UK can follow. I hope that the rest of the West will follow. We're seeing it in Canada. We're seeing it in Germany with the rejection of the woke left. And I think you'll see more of it in the rest of the continent.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, you're a resident of Britain, of London. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at our switchboard. I'm listening to Talk's audience. I mean, that the sort of level of jealousy that we have of America, that you've got this guy who's plain-speaking guy who's come in and said, enough of all this virtue signaling, halo polishing claptrap, only designed to make elite politicians feel good about themselves, but to make life much more difficult and more expensive for the citizens of America and still Britain. This guy's just come in and said, no, we're not going to do it anymore. The sense of kind of, it's like a dark cloud has been lifted, and you think, well, why, you Americans must think, why did we put up with this for so long? Here in Britain, we're thinking, why are we still putting up with it? But do you think that the Trump effect will change things in Britain?
I do. I really do. I think Labor would be very wise to pivot. You know, Bill Clinton did this in 1994. He came into office in the election of 92 as a liberal, as a left-leaning liberal, and he realized that the American people had no tolerance for that, and so he pivoted when he lost the midterms in 94, and he was very successful because he did that. So Labor shouldn't feel compelled to die with their lunacy and their luxury belief policies. Change. Maybe you don't have to dress it up as right-wing or populist, but just move to the center, especially on energy policy, especially on tax and deregulation. The economy in the UK is anemic. That's being kind. And so if they could just take a few pages out of Trump's playbook, they're not going to take all the pages. Let's face it. They're a party of the left. But it would be very liberating for the people in the UK if they did so.
I was talking to Alex Phillips earlier, who's over there with you celebrating the changing of the guard there in Washington. And she said that, she said the air of optimism was almost palpable. People were very excited, and much needed change is coming, is happening now. But she said the other element of all this that is palpable is that Trump's administration really don't particularly want to know about Keir Starmer and his Labour gang, his band of socialist merry men and women. So I just think that the guest list at the inauguration is extraordinary. So you've got Alex Phillips, of course, but you've got Boris Johnson is there, Priti Patel is there, Suella Braverman is there, Liz Truss is there. Not a single member of the current government, not a single member of the Labour government's cabinet is there. Keir Starmer's not invited. The Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner's not invited. The Home Secretary's not invited. None of them were invited. So Alex was saying you can feel the contempt that Trump's administration have for this bunch of dinosauric socialists that we've got in charge on this side of the Atlantic. Would you concur with that?
Absolutely. I saw all of the people you listed, I think with the exception of Suella. I saw them all on Friday night and Saturday night. Nigel was with us. We had, Steve Bannon was there. But we had a great contingent from the UK. It was really great to see. And there were 2 nights in a row, there were British-American social functions. Energy level was enormous. And a little bit of jealousy, some of that, wish we could do this at home. But I think there's hope. But if you heard the president's speech, the way he was criticizing the policies of Biden, I don't know how he could possibly stomach, working with Keir Starmer and the Labor government when everything that Labor is doing is a page out of the Biden playbook. And that playbook has been firmly rejected by voters. And by the way, as you know, Kevin, it doesn't work. It just makes things more expensive and makes people's lives much more miserable.
Yeah, this is how stupid Starmer is. He still believes in socialism. If you haven't noticed, Keir, it's kind of been proved over a number of years now that it really, really doesn't work. Last point, Greg. I know you've already been quoted on this, and I tend to agree with you. You feel that even though he hasn't made a decision yet, Donald Trump won't reject Peter Mandelson, Lord Mandelson, as our ambassador in Washington. You think he'll probably, for the sake of diplomacy, he'll let it go. But I don't think he'll be talking to Mandelson very much. No, what are your feelings?
Yeah, that's not going to be a productive relationship. You have a man of the left. They could have just stuck with the current ambassador. That would have been wise. She's apparently done a great job. I don't know her personally, but I think that was a big mistake. Just when Keir and David Lammy were going through their kiss and make up tour and trying to get back in the good graces, they send someone like Mendelson. I think it's a big mistake.
Yeah, Mendelson, of course, is the man. So David Lammy, now there's barely a single member of our Labour front bench, our Labour cabinet, barely a single cabinet minister or cabinet secretary who hasn't said something very insulting about Donald Trump. Now, the foreign secretary, David Lammy, as we know, called him a neo-Nazi. And our new man in Washington, our new ambassador, Peter Mandelson, called him a white supremacist. These are extraordinary claims. These are extraordinary insults. And he won't want to know them, will he?
And we've seen people make those remarks about Trump and then kiss and make up. Marco Rubio, even J.D. Vance. But first of all, they weren't diplomats. They were political, in some ways, opponents at the time. In the case of Rubio, but these are supposed to be diplomatic people. It's hysterical. But Trump will overlook that if they start to move a little bit to the center. If they start to embrace working for the people and not working for the luxury beliefs in Westminster and Islington. And so I think they could have a good relationship with President Trump. Trump doesn't care about insults. He's the king of insult people. So, he'll get over it if they have some common sense. But if they continue to embrace the Biden policies and the Biden luxury boutique issues, they're going to fail, and Trump will not tolerate that.
They're student ideologues. That's the problem. They're like sixth formers, you know, they're silly little political age-old beliefs that they've got, and they clash very much with what Donald Trump believes, and therefore I can't see that the special relationship will be in any way special, unless we're talking about Donald's friendship with Donald Trump. Or rather his friendship with Nigel Farage, which should be interesting to watch. Well, Greg, I'll let you get back to the parties. Good to talk to you, and stay in touch. That's Greg Swenson, our friend of the show, leader of the Republican Overseas Organisation here in London.